The Samsung QN90C damage control is going to be one of the biggest campaigns you're going to see this year, and I'm going to show exactly how deep it goes, starting with Amazon. So right now we're on Amazon right now, and as you see, this is the 55-inch. I purchased it on March 6th. I left my review like, a couple days ago? Nothing posted, right? It's been well past 72 hours at this point, and I'm noticing that only the Vine customers are coming through. Basically, people who get put up to talking about how amazing it is in exchange for a free product. That's all good and fine, but these aren't real reviews, these are advertisements. Anytime you have somebody getting a product for free in order to just gas it up like this and taking priority over actual reviews, you now have a problem. And, ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem, because if you go under write a review, you can clearly see my review has been written. I've shown all kinds of things, and it's just not allowed to be posted. No matter how many times I post, it's not allowed to be posted. All you'll see are all the people who got the product for free talking about, it's a super upgrade, it's amazing, it's wonderful. So that's the first leg of this video. Understand that when you are on Amazon and you're looking at consumer reviews, Vine customer reviews, not all of it is going to be honest, and there is literally censorship happening around negative reviews. That's just the day and age we live in. Now, before I start this video completely off, I do want to say it can always be worse, right? It can be the Sony X95K that's even more of a hazy, blooming mess. So again, it's not like the Samsung QN90C is the worst TV I've ever seen in my entire life, okay? But the damage control, the dishonesty, it all leads to the consumer truly not knowing what they're walking into, which means you can't make an informed decision because you don't have all the information. When there is censorship in an open public forum on what a product offers, that now turns into basically you being blindsided, really. And so I'm going to really show everyone something today. And I mean really show you something. So stick with it until the end if you can, because get ready. Samsung TVs have just gotten worse. That is as fast as anyone's going to tell you. To the left, you have 504 zones of mini LED quantum matrix technology, and to the right, you have full array local dimming, the Samsung Q8FN with only 40 zones of full array local dimming. Not mini LED, not quantum matrix technology, just full array local dimming. This shows you the direction that Samsung has gone in now that they've chosen to create an OLED. And similarly to pretty much every manufacturer that goes OLED, the LED market almost immediately sees this kind of downgrade, where literally a couple of years ago, they were absolutely incredible in dark rooms. Now they are not. But they're still trying to capitalize on people who want non-OLED displays. And they're doing so with jargon and marketing terminology like quantum matrix technology, when in reality, you probably, if you bought something in 2018, have a better TV than what's on the market right now in the LED space. And that's just one facet of this whole thing. Here we have the QN90C versus the Hisense U8H. The U8H is significantly cheaper at an average price point of $599. So for about $600 versus $2,100 to the left on the Samsung QN90C, you're getting so much more black level control. Now, the relevancy and importance of this is because, of course, as we know, the only reason they're charging so much is because at this point, they're an established name brand. But does that really matter if the performance isn't truly there? Samsung truly has been sliding down for the better part of several years at this point. I mean, take the Q8FN to the left versus the QN90B to the right, and you can easily see that there are huge problems as far as blooming. And I was even standing up, so it was off axis where you would see even more blooming on the Q8FN, just like maybe on the QN90B, and even still, the Q8FN was more uniform, even at a raised axis. This is indicating that as time goes on, these technologies are getting worse. And I think there is a big misunderstanding that newer isn't always better, right? And even though they have more terms and more, technology that they try to bundle together with those terminologies, it doesn't make a difference. Here is that same Samsung QN90C versus the Hisense U8G. The Hisense U8G on sale, you can get it for $554 or $49 versus $2,100 to the left. But you have more uniformity, you have deeper color, better expression, and pretty much everything in the image. Where the Samsung, more desaturated, of course, because of their ultra-wide viewing angle that dilutes colors, pretty much negating having quantum dots altogether. And this is a massive problem. Oh, but wait, there's more. It couldn't even beat the S546. This is TCL's entry-level QLED model. Really take a look at this. This shows you that even though you're paying $2,100, you can't even beat out a $500 TV. And spoiler, folks, this TV goes all the way down to the 400s. So you're really overpaying for something that isn't going to give you half of the value as what you're seeing on the screen right now. I mean, really look at the contrast, the detail, the color, coming off of a TCL versus a $2,100 after-tax Samsung flagship display. The Samsung gets so badly beaten in some of these comparisons that you really start scratching your head and asking yourself where it all went wrong. Because as you see here, the Samsung QN90C is just getting baked by the Hisense U8H. Now, I was recently called into question by one of my fellow AV YouTubers here for always giving Hisense praise or something to that effect. But the reality is, if you are being unbiased and you are looking at what they're doing versus Samsung and pretty much every other LED manufacturer, you can't help but notice a pattern of behavior. The bigger, more established names are taking it easy, riding past successes, and the company that hasn't really established a whole lot in comparison to those name brands are really trying to deliver something special and affordable for consumers. That can be seen right here as we see. And it doesn't just stop here. Take this baseball example for whatever you want to, okay? But all I see is an unbelievable difference in black level control. Because I understand that both are mini LED, so the technology is clearly being poorly utilized at best with Samsung. But it's happening at such a massive degree that now your colors, by comparison, look like something from, you know, HD era, back when we had 720p as the norm. It really doesn't look like a solid set. And for me, that's where I kind of lose patience with this whole thing. So let's continue on by looking at this example. The QN90C in a dark room is losing out a ton in comparison to the Hisense U8H. You're going to notice that the colors are more saturated, the tone mapping is better mapped, and it actually looks so much more like an OLED. In fact, if I told you that the TV to the right was an OLED, you'd probably believe me. And if I told you the TV to the left was an LCD from 10 years ago, you'd probably believe me. Because the reality is Samsung is not bringing their best. I mean, take this image for example. We can clearly see that Samsung at no point is rendering an image that looks anything acceptable in a nighttime environment. And the colors, look at that yellow. It's just pukey and faded, and it looks decades old. It's just not the same thing as having that vibrancy, that true, like, bronzy gold look, that brass look, that pop of that color that we're getting on the Hisense. And these examples continue. Again, we're seeing now a total falling apart of the image. It's just a mess. And this is going to be what you get for $2,100 to the left with the Samsung QN90C. But that won't stop people on Amazon from saying it's one of the best TVs that they've ever seen. It's amazing. Of course, Vine customer reviews, and I'm sure there'll be a couple other knuckleheads that don't know where technology truly is right now in the mini LED world. You see, people will try to have you believe that what Samsung is doing for $2,100 on the 55-inch is just okay. It's totally acceptable. Oh, but spoiler alert, it's also doing it on the 43 and the 65, so don't think that by spending more or less money that you're going to get around this. This is just what Samsung looks like. Meanwhile, Hisense, the same exact technology as far as mini LED, is producing a significantly better result. And by significantly better, I mean you're looking at it on the screen. It's not hazy, it's got three-dimensional pop, it's got vibrancy, it's got brightness, and it's doing it all correctly. Where, again, Samsung, they don't really care. Samsung's motto this year almost seems to be, let's give them the worst picture possible because we maybe don't have to try anymore. And as long as you keep saying that there's nothing wrong with their approach, or all mini LEDs are going to have some sort of blooming, as if Hisense isn't showing up delivering spectacular image quality like this, gives them the notoriety, gives them the adulation to continue with this bad behavior. Because again, they want $19.99 for a 55-inch. Hisense only wants $6.99 full price. If you find it on sale, $5.49. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's mind-blowing that we're at a point in society where this is our reality. Now, again, you can notice that on certain examples, black levels aren't as bad on the QN90C like this one. Black levels look okay, but again, in comparison, they miss the vibrancy and they miss the overall skin tonality to where you can see a person is actually alive. And that's that ultra-wide viewing angle thing. So they try to be more than what they are. On the one hand, they're like, oh, we give you wide viewing angles, and then they kind of step into a dangerous territory while saying we're mini LED and give you deep black. So for all intents and purposes, they are trying to pretend like they are offering an OLED experience. I mean, think about it, an ultra-wide viewing angle and inky deep blacks. Well, vibrant color, what else could you possibly be insinuating that you are? And that's the point where I kind of bow out, because they're nowhere close to an OLED experience. Nowhere in the stratosphere. Take this image, for example. There is no real reason why we should have this level of haze, this level of color loss on the parrot, the lack of sharpness in the chandelier, the lack of luminosity in each crystal that we have on the Samsung. It costs more. It's something that's more flagship, should have better processing. If we're to believe what the narrative is, that the Chinese manufacturers can't make TVs, then why is Samsung losing out? Take this example again of the Q8FN. This TV is indicative of where Samsung was. So if you think I'm just promoting Hisense, this is my Samsung Q8FN to the right. This is my Hisense, or my Samsung QN90C to the left. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. How with just 40 zones of full array local dimming, they were able to do way more than what they're doing right now today with 504. How is that possible? The math ain't mathin' on this, folks. It just ain't. How are you going to do better in 2018 than you can in 2023 with more time to know your own technology? Well, it's intentional. Let's call it for what it is, because you're not going to tell me that I have black levels that can't compete with Hisense's mini LED, but at the same token, we're going to still say that Samsung's a high-end brand. I think the time has come, folks, for us to really accept reality for what it is. The so-called luxury brands and high-end brands are the new budget brands when you talk about LCD, and it doesn't matter how much money you spend. I know some people are thinking they can just jump ship and run on over to the QN95C. Well, you'd better expect more of this, because Samsung, LG, and Sony are going all in on OLED. And when that happens, they're not going to put any attention into the LED space, because LEDs actually can look like OLEDs like you're seeing here to the right with the Hisense U8H. They don't want you to know that, because they want you to buy their OLEDs. So it's so much more beneficial for them to come out with low contrast television sets like this and say, hey, you know what? Buy this. This is the direction we're going in. This is what's amazing. Oh, if you don't think that, then hey, guess what? We also have an OLED. And I think that's the most deceptive thing. And again, this is all about giving you knowledge so that you can make an informed choice. Because without any kind of information being put out there to counteract the positivity, you know, safe spaces that you're going to run into on YouTube and on Amazon, where, again, you can't even have a negative review on the thing, it's never going to change. And so hopefully this video has really shown you something, and we can start a conversation down below. If you liked what I've shown here today, smack like on this video. If not, that's cool. Turn it to a dislike. As always, I thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.